high five. Nigga, I be spiked out. I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely
Hi guys, I know it's been a very long time since I've been on this channel, but I have some amazing news. First of all, let's just take a step back and let's do a rewind.
You are the director, the creator, and the writer of your story. You literally could do whatever you want. And it's just for you to sit down and navigate where you want to go. And you will get there.
So, I just want to ask you guys this one question. If you had the opportunity to travel the world, get a glimpse into your career, and be young, and just have an open mind, if you could do that, would you do that? If yes, continue to watch this video. I have had the pleasure to go with my mass communication department and my professor, Dr. Professor Karen Russell, and some seniors at Tennessee State University, and I got to go to New York. In New York, y'all, it was amazing, and I'm here to tell y'all all about that.
Throughout this impactful weekly journey, I had the opportunity to meet with Goodby and Silverstein and Partners, Bloomberg, and Omnicron, and many more companies. We traveled New York City, talking to different companies and mostly asking for internships, but beyond that, just getting advice from professionals. And it was very inspiring, impactful, and just made me more driven than what I already am. Sitting in these conference rooms and talking to these executives that are in my career field face to face, asking them as many questions as I want, was so inspiring and so educational as well. Just learning specifically with Goodby, Silverstein, and Partners, all their commercials that they've done, what's the process of how they did it, and essentially what team does what, who does what, and what's the process of that. I just love talking to them and just being able to see what that process is. I even had an even better experience at NBC, having the honor to sit and introduce myself in front of the executive president of NBC, Yvette. She was so inspiring with her message and her speech that she led us with about just staying determined in this industry, staying on top of what you do, and just making sure that you're the best at what you do. And there's always competition at the door, but that's why we stay ahead of the game. I also enjoyed learning from Kim Goodwin, who also served as a mentor throughout our tour of Showing Us NBC. Showing Us NBC was just great, just to see the environment of SNL, Jimmy Fallon, and so much more. Exploring the offices was the best part. Exploring the offices and seeing what the real world is like, how they pitch ideas, how they discuss ideas, and really exactly what is it like working as a team, a collaboration, a group of people that come together to produce the content that we see every day that essentially make up our media. One of the key things I learned from this trip, said by Yvette, that has been in my head consistently: if you have time to do it the wrong way, then you have time to do it the correct way. That quote that she said really stuck with me, just because in my matriculation through my college career in the mass comm department, as anyone would know, I've had lots of trials and errors and trials and tribulations. But it's this quote right here that makes me aware of my mistakes, but also gives a certain accountability that if you have time to mess it up, you have time to sit down and do it the correct way to get that final result. Because at the end of the day, we're all striving to achieve a final result that gets us to our sole purpose, which is to our consumer, our customer, or the media, essentially. A big highlight of this trip was going to Bloomberg. Bloomberg, it has a beautiful corporate office in the NYC area, and just taking a tour of the place, I just loved how it had such a unique approach to a work system and a workplace. Everyone was doing what they were supposed to be doing, very embedded in detail, but they were also calm with a group of us and like being in their space. Everything in the building had a meaning to it, and it just exposed me to an internship that I could possibly get that's not traditional like what I'm used to, which is you're typing your life away and you're reporting. That's all out the window at Bloomberg, and I just love the environment of that. I feel like they opened a creative space, which is where I shine. Omicron was such a great experience. Finally meeting up with Ed Frankel, another TSU alumni, it was just so awesome to just have him speak and have him bring other people to speak with us of all different backgrounds in terms of what they do in the company, but also relating to us in some type of way. I loved hearing them speak about their experience, from their application to what they do in office, how they became qualified. And the number one common factor that stood out to me when they were speaking was how all of them never gave up on themselves, and they always was constantly working to get a new opportunity. I can't remember the lady's name, but she literally had a new position made for her due to her strong work ethic. Given everything that I've learned throughout this trip, a big fact that I took away with me is that it is okay to be selfish in this industry. New York City showed me tons of opportunities that, you know, these jobs aren't going anywhere. It's about who can do them well, and ultimately who can make you equipped for your success in the long run of what you want to accomplish. I learned that being selfish in this industry is okay because you have to think about your talent first and what you bring to the table. And then also it's a give and take process for the employer and you as the interviewee and eventually the worker. NYC opened my eyes to so many things. I enjoyed eating at the spots, even walking through downtown, and just say how awesome they did because they did freaking amazing. I love young MJ. I love teenage MJ and MJ at this point. So eye-opening because I just saw that I could really be anywhere and the sky's the limit, which I think is the overall mission of New York City. There were so many offices of different companies and global companies as well, like Paramount, NBC, ABC, Google. I mean, the list goes on. Being surrounded by so many seniors on this trip was also inspiring. And our off time of being in the hotel, which is the Edison, which was amazing, I often ask them for some advice as they're about to venture off in their careers and graduate. And they have a lot more opportunities at the door than me, a rising senior, but a junior, just trying to get her foot in the door and just soak up as much as I can throughout this internship. And I was left away with a lot of things from them. One, I'm young and we're Black and we're awesome and we can take over the world. But besides the obviousness, I also learned that there's so many things that I can do to evolve myself to keep being the top pick candidate. Besides just working on my resume and constantly growing that and getting involved in programs that can help me shine outside of the classroom, it's also beneficial for me to just keep working on my portfolio, keep working on the key things that employers see when they look me up, and then keep just growing my toolkit. As I mentioned earlier, my toolkit has grown in all of my HBCU career at Tennessee State University, but just growing in other departments, like learning new things that I might not major in, but should still be beneficial to me in my career at some point. Like I said before, writing is the big essential in mass comm department, and I've took many classes on film and editing. So just keep staying up with that skill set to keep making me, you know, usable in any room that I'm in. One of the huge parts of this trip that I enjoyed was meeting the TSU alumni. We had the opportunity to meet up at this art show place, essentially, and meet with TSU alumni who just shared the most amazing advice to us. I love talking to them and sharing my personal life and what my life is like at TSU, hearing about theirs and just hearing the advice that they gave as people who graduated a couple years ago, like when I started as a freshman, ideally, and just giving me the boost that I need. And I felt so seen, heard, and just overall appreciated, essentially, as a student, and motivated. I mean, I'm a junior and I'll be a senior next year, but it just gave me so much motivation to keep going, and I'm almost at the finish line because I come from a great product and the alumni are there to show and remind me of that every time. Great networking with them, getting their phone numbers, and just knowing that I have a personal friend and connection that is from the same background, the same family that I bleed, because I bleed blue. Although New York City ran my pockets dry, had me eating the best food I've ever tasted in my entire life, and gave me forever connections and gave me an outlook of what the future looks like for me in the marketing field and in the mass comm field overall, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm glad I was able to attend it with the best students, the best teacher, and at the best age of 21. Thank you so much, everyone in the mass comm department and alumni and everyone who advocated for me to go on this trip, my parents. And I'll just leave you with this. Like I said before, there's no growth in your comfort zone, and the only one holding you back is you. Take a leap of faith, travel, and expand yourself. Grow your network and become the best you could possibly be, because there's no one holding you back except for you.